draft. Because tomorrow we plan on going live for you guys and our audience, man, so you can experience the draft with us live in person and actually see how this all goes down. Yeah, man, here we are. The draft is. Can y'all hear me?
Now we can.
All right, cool. So the draft is here, man. There was a lot of talks going on behind scenes, reference to what was going on with the players and where they wanted to get drafted and who was trading who. There's a big bold prediction going on from CT ESPN. Shout out to AB Antonio Brown, and they have some news which we'll touch on a little bit later, but. Again, man, bold prediction, guys, man. You guys heard all the news. You heard all the rumors and the draft slides and the risers. How y'all feel, man? Give me a bold prediction on what you think will happen in this NFL draft tomorrow.
I think Penix goes to Minnesota.
You see Penix going to Minnesota. How you see that happening? They have 2 picks. What picks they have right here? Let me go ahead and pull up the draft board here. Yeah, we just upgraded. How do you see this all panning out? So you see Penix dropping?
No, didn't they trade up into the top?
Yeah, they have the 23rd. What is it? 20? Sue, no, because
they have like the
11. They have 11 and 23.
11 and 23. So that's what I'm saying. So you see him not being one of the top 3-4 quarterbacks drafted in this year's draft. Skipping New England, skipping.
Yeah, I mean, for some reason, man, I guess they're talking about his injury and things like that. But I mean, man, I think. Everybody come back from injury. He dropped a real heartfelt little message, which I respected. And the guy has fought through adversity. He's a winner, and he's mature. He's a leader. He's a natural leader, man. And I think the guys in that locker room will respect him. I think that also will allow them to pay Justin Jefferson and still have someone who has the arm strength, to get him the ball. It's just a matter of, getting them on the same page within the system and, make sure he has a run game and this and that. And then you're able to pay him on a rookie salary for 4 years and also allow him to compete with Sam Darnold. So that's my bold prediction.
So you're ignoring the J.J. McCarthy noise.
No, I'm about to get on that.
I just wanted to touch on that too, man.
It ain't going.
Go ahead. I will go ahead and let you have the floor, man. I know you've been waiting and itching to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm not. We definitely not gonna let that go unignore. I think the truth will come out tomorrow. San Diego will have the chance to draft J.J. McCarthy, and they won't. Either way that it goes, J.J. McCarthy going in the top 10 or top 15 will be one of the biggest busts in this past decade. That's going to happen. That's going to happen tomorrow. We're going to see one of the players with the least amount of evaluatable film go in the top 10 at the most important position, and it's going to be a travesty, and the team that drafts him deserves every bit of it. The only team that makes sense in drafting him that high is San Diego. That's the only team that makes sense drafting him that high, because I could see Harbaugh saying, I want him to run my system. We're not going to ask him to do much, just like we didn't ask him to do much at Michigan. He understands the checks. He understands the eye sequencing, the whole deal. He understands the offense. So that's my thing. I'm to the point where I just want to see what happens tomorrow with the JJ McCarthy saga, because it's been just terrible living through it for these past 3 weeks. He's the most overhyped. He's the most
JJ.
overhyped. Yeah, he's the most overhyped prospect in the last decade.
That's good that you brung the Hardbogs up. Reference to JJ McCarthy and the number 5 pick. News spiraling around the internet, man. Well, it ain't really spiraling because a lot of people don't even believe it. But the Chargers are making little headways in reference to Justin Herbert and being traded possibly to Minnesota for those 2 first-round picks. And Harbaugh being able to keep the number 5 as well as jump to keep that jump to number 11 and get that 20 pick from the Texans that they acquired, man. So what do y'all make of that noise, man? How y'all feel about that trade? Harbaugh gets his guy McCarthy at number 5, trades Herbert to Minnesota. Justin Jefferson gets a quarterback, or what they would say of the future, depending on how you guys feel about him. How you guys feel about that news?
Well, I tell you this, man, it's somewhat true. It's somewhat kind of noise to it. I mean, at the end of the day, Antonio Brown was a super. You could say arguably that he was a superstar at one point in his career. I think he was able to rub a lot of shoulders within the organizations, and I think that he knows people that knows things, and he's leaking it without telling them who the source is, and respectfully, and I think there's some truth to it. The betting odds that went from 17,000 down to like 500 now, plus 500. Like it's some kind of truth to it. I just don't know what it is. I also do know that there's no way that they're going to be able to pay Jefferson and Herbert right now. I'm curious to see how they figure that out.
Yeah, Herbert's got 2 years left on his rookie deal.
Does he?
Yeah.
I thought he signed an extension. Didn't he sign an extension?
I thought he had an extension.
Oh, okay.
I think he signed the extension right after or before Mahomes. I think it was after Mahomes.
Well,
but he signed the extension as well.
There's always restructuring.
He has a no trade clause, but he's willing to waive it for the right situation.
Right, and I think
going to Justin Jefferson is the right situation.
Yeah. Well, just getting in the offense that gives him the ability to throw the football. Harbaugh is not going to throw the football. He's not going to throw it at a high percentage. And Justin Herbert's proven that, I'm saying, I think that he's in the upper echelon of quarterbacks in the AFC. So does that make Harbaugh experiment work, seeing as though he can go ahead and get a guy in JJ McCarthy who probably is going to be an ultimate game manager to run his offense, acquire 2 draft picks later on in the draft. He can stockpile guys, probably get a lineman that he's looking for, potentially add a receiver out there that he lost with Keenan Allen. How y'all feel about the Chargers, man? Do you think that would be a good move for them to get rid of a guy like Herbert to acquire a guy like JJ McCarthy and to rebuild the whole process from a team that potentially could have been a playoff team? Got a lot of feedback. Say that again.
Harbaugh wants his own guys.
Yeah, I think he wants his own guys, and I think he recognizes that it's a rebuild. And also, there's some intel inside those walls in San Diego that may know a little bit more about Herbert's finger than we do.
Yeah.
Because I know that was part of the trade that they were saying was a holdup that Herbert would have to be ready for training camp, for OTAs, cleared, to go, ready to go. And they weren't sure if he was going to be ready to go with that finger the way it's been bothering him post surgery. But I actually think that this is a great trade for both sides. I think they both feel vital needs that it's I mean, I don't see anybody losing in this trade. You get to address it, and I would address it just like you said: quarterback, lineman, wide receiver.
Nah, I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're gonna go. He still want that, but he still want that tackle, man. From I can't say
Right.
that.
That's why I said lineman,
Yeah,
quarterback,
Right. You're
lineman,
talking about
wide
Alt.
receiver.
You're talking about Alt from Notre Dame.
Correct.
yeah.
I don't know if he falls, that low. It depends, you know what I mean. But I see he definitely wants him. But he also has eyes on Browers, that tight end, which will kind of fit his offense. So, Harbaugh working, man. I think he came into the league with a plan. I think he's gonna execute quite well, man. We're gonna see how that works with them turning that thing around over there. So real quick, Miles, you touched on Phoenix, man. Going to Minnesota, possibly being drafted in the first round. There's been some noise about his touch on his throws. That he has no touch. Dion came out. Dion came out recently and defending him and said, the guys got to stop with noise in regards to this kid. But there's been noise that he has no touch on his balls and all his balls was thrown on a rope. So how you guys feel about some of this pre-draft noise that's coming out in regards to some of these kids? Piggybacking off of that with the Jaden Daniels and the issue with the guys, all five of the quarterbacks being there and having to smooth that over. How do you guys feel about the draft noise, man? Is there truth to all this, or you guys think that this is just a noise to kind of have guys slow down on drop down in the draft process?
I think it's all stuff created. If you remember on one of the previous shows, I said that if I'm a college football player and I'm looking to be draft eligible next year, I'm looking at whoever is JJ McCarthy's agent. Because right now, all these things right now are, if you look at them, saying that Penix has no touch, throwing the gauntlet at Jaden Daniels, and disrespectfully bringing in three other quarterbacks on a visit, bringing up all the stuff about Caleb Williams. Not one bad thing has been brought up about JJ McCarthy. So to me, that tells me exactly where all the noise is coming from. And he's the only one whose stock has rose. Everyone else's stock has went down, stayed the same. Like they talk about Drake May now, like Drake May's gonna have to sit a year before he plays. So
I said that in the previous show. I think that he is.
Yeah, I don't think so. I just think that he needs to have a supporting cast around him that allows him to be himself. But I think that's what I get out of all the noise is that it's coming from JJ McCarthy's camp, that his agency has got a grip on the media and the narratives going into this draft as far as the quarterbacks are concerned, because every other quarterback has a knock on him but JJ. And he's the least he's the least accomplished of them all.
It is kind of ironic that JJ McCarthy's draft stock is rising, although he hasn't been the guy to throw the ball much. Been to do little compared to the other quarterbacks in this draft. But man, it seems to be stock seems to keep rising up the boards. There's a quarterback I want to talk about, man, before we move on.
One more thing, Chris. The most ridiculous thing I've ever heard said in a draft process. They said JJ McCarthy had the best throwing workout they've ever seen from any quarterback. Get out of here, man. Get out of here, man. That's so terrible.
Hey, well, here's what I say about that. They said the same thing last year about Zach Wilson, man. We all, oh, not last year, but a couple of years ago about Zach Wilson. We all know how that turned out, man. So,
Hey, wait, hold on. So,
I'm with you on that, man. I don't think we can compare. To be honest with you, I do think JJ McCarthy would probably be a better quarterback than Zach Wilson, but I don't think Zach Wilson is. I don't think those throwing on air doesn't really move me.
We can say we think he's going to be whatever, but there's no film that points towards him being all these great things. That's all I keep saying.
He made a couple. He made a couple throws.
Yeah, but his
I think he's a winner though.
The throws that he made.
That is.
Look,
he's the winner.
The throws that he made is like evaluating the defense, and they keep bringing like these onesie blitzes where they only run them once. So you come into your staff meeting and you're like, "Hey man, did you see that blitz in the third quarter?" Yeah, they ran like a saw and brought the free safety down in the A gap. He's like, "Yeah, did you see it again?" Nah, I only saw it that one time. All right, we'll show the guys, we'll throw it in there, but we can't run that a bunch of times if that's not what they do. Like, that's not what he does. He doesn't make those super spectacular throws on a regular basis. They're onesies. They come up every once in a while. And I can't evaluate him as a player based on that.
I can attest to that, man. I agree. I think he's just a winner. I think he's gonna be one of those guys that got to turn to the right situation. I
think it's hardball, man.
If he goes to hardball, I believe he's gonna have success in the league.
No, I'm saying it's the fact that he's been taught football terminology, NFL kind of like terminology through the eyes and the mouth of Harbaugh.
Y'all sipping the Harbaugh Kool-Aid a little bit too hard, boy.
I like Harbaugh, man. I got my own ties with the Niners.
He had 22 players that were good. Wasn't no damn JJ McCarthy winning games.
Hey. So real quick, while we on the tax of quarterbacks, man, there's a quarterback we have not talked much about. And there's been news about this particular kid, about him having probably the highest ceiling out of all of the quarterbacks here, and the lowest floor. We're talking about Bo Nix. Give us some. I know we all kind of like have our guys who we have on our boards, and he hasn't been the guy that has been mentioned in the top 5 quarterbacks and things of that nature. Has some success at various schools. Been playing quite a while. He's one of those COVID kids. What do you see for Bo Nix, man? What is the situation you see him going? Do you see him? Do you see it as disrespect that he's being not considered, or do you think it's right on par and right on brand with Bo Nix and who he is?
Man, Cade McNown, man, he part of the McNown brothers, man. That's what I said.
Oh, you call him McNown? Wow.
Nah,
he's a career backup.
Yeah, if that, he's in the USFL in 4 or 5 years.
Wow, that's tough.
Ooh.
That's tough.
Ooh, how you feel, Sue? Tell me how you feel about Bo Nix. I mean, you're a QB evaluator. You have a keen eye for these type of things. Man, how you feel about Bo Nix, and do you think he can be successful in this league, or you think he's right on brand with what they're saying?
I think he can be successful in this league. I think he's in a place in the draft where he's going to land in an organization that doesn't need him to come in and win right away. I think in 2 or 3 years, Bo Nix may have his opportunity to be a starter. You can't ignore a guy that has a 70% completion percentage, man. Like, You can't ignore that. He's done some really, really good things. You talk about being a winner. He's a winner. He battled adversity early in his career, and then triumphs towards the end. So I see a lot of good stuff. I just think there's a lot of guys with better like physical attributes than Bo Nix, and that's overshadowing him right now. But he's not a guy that I'm counting out. I don't feel like Coach Miles feels about him. I think he has a shot in the league. I think he's going to get a chance to develop because no one needing a starter should draft him. So he may go to a better situation.
Yeah. Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
I mean, the McNown brothers, they found a way to have a successful career. So
yeah, it wasn't terrible.
I think
I mean, he was with the Bucks.
I think
so,
Bo. I don't.
I was rocking with him when he was with the Bucks. So I mean, shout out to Josh.
I feel like Bo, like kind of like how Sue was looking. I feel like Bo's gonna be one of those guys that kind of like maybe an early journeyman, but he's gonna find his way somewhere, man. Again, he's one of the older kids. I think how old is Bo? I think he's around 24 or something like that.
Yeah,
he's one a
he's
little bit
an
on the older
kid.
side because he's
Him and Penix
yeah,
around the same. Him and Penix.
Right. So we'll see, man. They had that classic battle when Washington versus Oregon back in last year's in games, man. So I like Bo. We'll see how that turns out for Bo Nix, man. Moving along, there's some grumblings in the WNBA. It's becoming a very popular sport now. Women's basketball. I feel like I went to my first game. It was a women's basketball game back with the Orlando. I forget what their name was, man, Miles. But I went down there when I was in Florida. We went to a game randomly. It's now becoming a very, very popular sport. Where a lot of people are starting to gravitate to it due to this college basketball class. A lot of the stars in this college basketball class, such as Caitlin Clarke, as everybody know, the Iowa star who's broke a lot of records and was a scoring machine, and Angel Reese and amongst other of the big time names, Kabosa. There's a lot of WNBA stars in this class that's kind of propelling the league to new levels of popularity. So there was an issue when Caitlin, who was drafted number 1 overall by the Indiana Fever, received a $28 million Nike shoe deal coming straight out of college. And there was a particular WNBA star, Aja Wilson, who was a 2-time NBA champion, 2-time MVP, and 2-time back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year MVP, who did not have a signature shoe deal at this particular moment. Hearing that, fellas, how y'all feel about this shoe deal fiasco? Do you think it's warranted for Aja Wilson to feel slighted, or do you think Caitlin Clarke, being a potential WNBA superstar that she's going to be, deserved that over such a Aja Wilson?
You wanna take this one, Miles?
I mean, like it sucks to say this. Like Aja, man, she's a great player and stuff, man. But Caitlin Clarke had people watching her games that never even watched basketball before, and I think she has a different. I think Caitlin has a different wave, and I think she has a bigger following than Aja, and she's gotten little girls to want to play basketball, and it's like, no disrespect to Aja, but You know, like today, I'm with Stove. You know, Stove got the flag football flyers
Shout out
that
to
he
Stove and
that,
the Peachtree
that
Ridge
he
flag football team.
yeah, flag football. So he's taking the flyers to the elementary school, and we was talking to the principal, Mrs. Dutton, and you know, was talking about her son and this and that, and one of the teachers walked up and she was like, "Oh, little football, y'all building little Caitlin Clarks out there on the football field, like stuff like that. Like nobody's saying, um, hey, are you gonna?" Only the basketball people, you know, like I think I don't. I'm probably explaining it wrong, man, but I honestly think, man, that you know, Caitlyn is just she's bigger, man. Like
She's a bigger overall pop star, and
yeah,
just
yeah,
star. Period.
yeah,
Reference to star power. Understood.
yeah.
Understood. How you feel, Sue? Do you think she
She's
got
coming
slighted or?
into it. She's coming into it with all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So she's gonna now. Isaac got something to help her. I think Caitlyn is gonna help Isaac become, you know, get a big check because they're gonna turn those into rivalries, this and that. And you know now, you know Isaac's gonna become the one of the greatest WNBA players, and then she's gonna pass the torch to Caitlyn. It's gonna be those kind of things, and I think it'll always be a storyline to kind of build her up, and then give her that check. I think they got to find a way to build her up, and I think Caitlyn gonna do it.
Well, this is what I say, fellas. I've become quite the women's basketball fan over the last 4 seasons. So I feel like I've watched this thing grow to the height that it's at right now. Because right now I think we all would agree that this is the most publicized that women's college basketball has ever been. In this social media era.
Yes, definitely.
Right? So here's the thing, right? So I'm gonna talk out of both sides of my neck. On one side, everything that Asia Wilson has done as a player warrants her having her own shoe. The MVPs, the championships, she should have her own shoe.
She should definitely have her own shoe. I thought you were talking
now listen. Hold up, dude. But having a shoe has never been about MVPs, championships, and all that other stuff. They chose people who had the following that were good enough to produce the wins and the championships and the MVPs to have shoes. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, I've enjoyed following Angel Reese over these past 2 years. There's nothing exciting about Asia Wilson. She should be upset with her marketing and her PR behind everything that she does. What's Asia Wilson's nickname? I don't know that she has one.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like what does Asia Wilson do on social media or before games that makes her stand out or that's unique? I don't know of any. Also, you're playing in one of the most unpublicized leagues in the world, the WNBA, or the W as they like to call it. They pay you $70,000 for God's sake. So, I mean, kind of half of it, you deserve it for your accomplishment. The other half, cry me a river. Do your job to create the buzz around yourself so that you become the most marketable person. Because one thing about it, You don't have to like Caitlin Clarke. Caitlin Clarke has followers from coast to coast.
Coast to coast.
Yeah.
From coast to coast.
Yeah.
And her game stands out for her because she's not attractive to most people. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't have any sensational things she does on her social media, but she's a straight baller. Straight baller. So
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with both of you. You know what I'm saying? And kind of both saying the same thing, man. I think Caitlin Clarke, her popularity, she deserves, all the awards and accolades that come with it, reference to marketing and sponsorships and things of that nature. She's propelled the WNBA to a new level, and I think Angel Reese, like you said, man, she capitalized on Caitlin Clarke's success and made it a rivalry where, hey, here I am, I'm here too. And it galvanized her a reference to popularity. And I think
Angel got her own motion.
Yeah, and I think now with Caitlin being in the WNBA, the Aces being the champions and the team to beat and all the above, I think Caitlin's gonna bring that heat to Aja, and that's going to be what kind of sparks Aja's career. Maybe it's what she needs, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's a slight to anybody. I think everybody needs to embrace Caitlin. She's here now. She's the megastar, the LeBron of the WNBA, as you could call it, and they should embrace her as it is, man. And she deserves everything that she gets.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't think Caitlin's going to have the success that people think she should have in her first year.
That's a hot take right there.
I think she scores 17 a game in her rookie. Hey, listen, did you hear how Taurasi talked about her? Taurasi got it out for her.
It's smoke. It's smoke in the WNBA for her.
They smoke in the WNBA for her.
For sure. It's definitely smoke for her. We're going to see the WNBA. It's like now they got the opportunity, like they said, to put their money where their mouth is, because a lot of the WNBA was talking a lot about Caitlin Clarke and how college basketball was getting more recognition than the WNBA, and how they felt like she was kind of, I can say a gimmick, but they felt like when she got to the WNBA, a lot of things that she do with college wasn't going to translate. You know what I mean? Like they felt like the defense wasn't that subpar, but we'll see, man. I'm interested to see. I'm glad she's bringing this smoke to the WNBA. Like you said, nobody's been more interested in the WNBA like they are now before. So it's always great, man, to see somebody be able to galvanize the sport. Speaking of rivalries, though, man, right? So, we're going to touch off a little off sports for a little while here, man. I've been talking to Miles about it. I don't know if you hip to what's been going on in the music industry lately. But just for fun, man, let's chop it up, man. There's been a rap beef going on right now with everybody. But it's a little bit of everybody. Yeah, it's a little bit of everybody. But the two of the biggest stars, man, that everybody's been kind of waiting to see it happen. It's been kind of punches been going back for years. But Drake, Kendrick Lamar, how you guys feel about music, man, and what's going on with the music industry, with the state of hip hop it is in now? Is this dangerous for the game? Is it something that you feel like it's good for hip hop? And who you got winning, man? Who you got? You think it's a runaway, or you think Kendrick come back with some smoke?
I'll go first because I'll be quick. I'm not very interested in it at all. I think hip hop right now is at an all-time low. The only interesting part to shoot the R&B cat Chris Brown has said the hardest shit during this whole rap beef. He done had
crazy.
Yeah, so like I ain't real interested, man. I think hip hop is at an all-time low. Rick Ross jumped in and livened it up a little bit. I liked what he was talking about. I really wasn't hearing nothing else. J. Cole let me down because I thought he was going to come through. So
I think he understood what was about to happen, though. I think he understood what was about to happen, man. It's about to get real crazy, man. Miles, what you got on it, man? Before I get my
Man,
little
it's about to get crazy, man. I also I guess everything comes to a head. I don't know how true everything is, but it's interesting. It's cool to listen to. It's cool to listen to the creativity and putting everything together and putting the beat to it and all that stuff. So it's still a form of art. I guess you bashing, but it's a form of art, man. It's beautiful. Just you know, that's it, man. Like, but I like it. I mean, I like it, and I think um, the previous beef with Chris, man, Drake had with it's your boy out of Virginia, man, Pusha T.
Pusha
You
T.
know what I'm saying? Like the
You don't want none of that smoke.
stuff like
No
that.
more.
I think stuff like that prepared him for this moment, man. I think he just been just collecting dirt because he's been prepared for this moment, and I think it's something to also allow these big celebrities to, you know, uh, get get the hip hop numbers up, man. I think get people talking about hip hop. Um, you're not really
Did
talking about hip hop now. You got people like Lil Concrete, yelling and screaming, talking about robbing, and
Real concrete.
but we don't even understand like not the kids listening to that. So like,
Yes, nah, I agree,
did
man. I
did
think
Drake
honestly,
respond to Rick Ross?
nah, not yet. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
They been shooting like little stuff back and forth on Instagram with like pictures of the house. Hey, when Drake said that was a content
content
creator
creators.
starter kit,
When he said it was what?
he said it was a content creator starter pack for the house he had.
Hey man, hey Drake don't play fair sometimes. But he real petty, man. But I'm gonna tell you, I love this. I love the sparring back and forth. I'm a hip hop fan, man. I love music. I love the days of sometimes when the big guys have opportunity to have a competition, man. Like where they can show what they really about instead of it just always being like we're just rapping on beats, and some people not even rapping on a song because they're scared to hop on a verse or lay a verse next to somebody else. And this is a time where it's the best versus the best. You don't rarely get to see these type of guys go at it, and I've been waiting to see it for a while. The days of Jay-Z and Nas and 50 Cent, Ja Rules and Biggie and Tupac, man, it's always been these clashes always been entertaining. You know what I mean? Even 50 Cent and Rick Ross, but hopefully it doesn't go any left. I hate the fact that we're in the age of AI where a lot of these songs come out. You don't even know if it's them or not. It's kind of watering it down, but I'm definitely excited to see what's going on with hip hop, man. I'm waiting to hear what Kendrick dropped because I feel like he been waiting to have an opportunity to go at Drake, man. Seeing how Drake did me last time, what I mean, I can't see him doing the same thing to Kendrick. But yeah, man,
Kendrick definitely coming back.
Kendrick's definitely coming back with something, man. After that last little thing with Tupac and Snoop, which is wild, you use that AI to do something like that, man. He got to come back. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Closing out, man. We're hearing a lot of noise in the Buffs, Colorado college football recruiting transfer portal opened up last week, man. It's been kids talking about bouncing here, bouncing there. The Buffs has lost a lot of big time players. Kamari McLean being one of them. as well as recently their running back Dylan Edwards, who was a guy that everybody called a Dion guy. How do y'all feel about the transfer portal bust right now, man? Are they winning in the portal? Are they losing in the portal? I know they gained about 4 or 5 uh, big time stars, but they lost about a good 17, I believe, total. I'm not sure if they're all talented, but they lost about a good 17 kids. How do y'all feel? Are they winning or losing right now?
I think they're doing. We'll find out if they're winning in September. But right now they're just doing. You think about it. You have an 85-man roster and you lose 17 guys in after spring ball. That sounds about right to me. It's you have 4 or 5 guys in there that you figure out can't play for you, and you have there's 22 guys that figured out they're not going to be the starter. And in this age, we know that if guys aren't the starter, what are they doing? They're entering the transfer portal. So I think it's right on time. I think the most important thing to look at is that he's filling those spots. He got a big 6'6" offensive lineman from Texas. He got a defensive end that was a starter, a very productive kid from Pitt. He got a tailback that was highly ranked out of Ohio State. So I think he's continuously still upgrading the roster and the guys that he's bringing in, and the guys that are leaving aren't starters. Because the one kid that I think we were all surprised to see, Dylan Edwards, we were all surprised to see him go. But I think to the person that knows and understands football, you can see that they're going to be doing something different in their running game this year, and they're looking for a different type of back. And he just wasn't for hanging around with it getting kind of crowded back there. So 2 guys left, and it's part of the deal. The one thing you got to remember is on that offensive side of the ball, the offensive coordinator has really had to, take this time now to put his stamp on offensive personnel, because he still had the guys from the previous offense, which was a little more spread, and I think they're going to be a lot more pro-like. So I'm still excited to see. I think they're still making upgrades, and we got to remember this is only his second recruiting cycle. So
Second recruiting cycle.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah. I agree. I think the Dylan Edwards, the news broke with the one of the coaches who kind of said, hey man, like we had plans for Dylan. We had plans for him in the receiving game. Our receiving group was they had a whole playbook design for him. So it was I guess it was odd for them to see him want to leave. But you know what I mean, seeing as though they just got a guy from Ohio State, 4-star with 3 years eligibility left, and they already named their number 2 running back. So I think Dylan kind of got, like I said, a little antsy about competition and kind of decided to skate away. How you feel, Miles? How you feel about the bus right now, man, and what's going on?
Well, I feel good, man. And with Dylan was a good kid. I don't think that Coach Prime, a kid like Dylan, I don't think he would ever put him in a position to, for him to not succeed. And I think, like, to piggyback off what Alan said, they're going into a different style offense, but it's still built around Shador. He's still gonna throw the ball, he's still gonna get this. And when he spoke to Rivals yesterday, the key thing that he said is, I want to be used as an all-purpose back. I don't want to have to just come in on third downs. I don't want to have to just do this. I want to be able to do it all. And I don't think that he had that opportunity anymore with Sherman coming in to do it all, and which is why he's they was gonna use him more as a gadget guy, receivers, flank him out, shit like that, and he didn't want to be used that way, and he told Coach Prime, and Coach Prime understood, and boom, now he's off, and he's got every school, so um, good kid, and he probably not a kid that you want to lose because he's good, he's explosive, he's gonna make plays for you, so he's fast, but at the same time, I don't think it came down to competing, man. I think so. Yeah, that's what I think.
I got you. I think a little bit was a little bit of everything, man. With Dylan, I think a little bit it came to a little bit of competing because of what Coach said. You know what I mean? He just felt like he read body language, and it was a kind of a surprise to them that Dylan was going to enter the portal because they had those play designs already set for him. The Casco kid, they kind of already knew what it was with him. He demanded that he was the number one back, and obviously they wasn't going to concede to that. But we're in an age now, man, where kids have that kind of ability to say, hey, man, if I'm not going to be the featured guy, I'm not going to be the starting guy. I want to go somewhere else and have opportunities so I can, get my stats up and raise my draft probability. So hats off to him, man. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. I do have one question to continue about this Buffs thing, man. So do you guys see it as a problem with this high turnover rate with Prime? Do you see this as a potentially something going on in-house?
Everybody, go look at the numbers of these other schools. I mean, it's just it's just like in I don't know, man. It's such a spotlight on that guy that you're gonna know each and every.
That ain't it now. They create their own spotlight.
Right.
So
it's still a spotlight.
If you create you open the blinds, people gonna look in the house.
You gotta accept what comes with.
So,
and that's what he wants.
Exactly. Because I don't think there's a mass exodus at Colorado. But I do think that there is a lot of eyes put on that program in depth, where a lot of coaches throughout the country aren't allowing that to happen and take place. Because here's the thing about that. Here's the one thing about that. And gracefully and nothing big has happened amongst Colorado players, like in the community, off the field, anything like that. But if it does, man, it's everybody's gonna be in the middle of that deal. Yeah. They're gonna blow it out of they're gonna blow it out of proportion. It's gonna be huge, you know what I mean? And that's a lot of go ahead.
That brings me to my follow-up question, man. Like you said, once you open up them blinds, man, you subject yourself to everybody peeking in. Is all the attention that Deion creates with the YouTubes and all the channels and all the allure that he creates, is it almost a double-edged sword? Is it almost hurting them a little bit when it comes to some of these things, especially with recruiting and guys that want to actually come to the program, and when they are a big-time name and aren't playing or getting the recognition like they deserve, feel like that's the reason they should leave more so than actually getting the culture and the coaching from Deion himself?
I say 80% no, because it's working. He's recruiting at a high level. He's got more publicity than any school in the country. He's affected the schools monetarily like no one has ever done at that university ever before. He's affected enrollment. So absolutely no. 80% no, it's not hurting him. But then there's a 20% of winning football games that I have to say we'll see, because this is the year, this is the roster, and this is the year that I think he can win 8 games.
He has to now start to put some wins behind the talk and the noise. Otherwise, people are starting to get tone deaf to all that, and they think that it's just like they say he's playing for clicks, and then the recruiters start to turn their nose at those type of programs. But shout out to Dorian Barney, man. He's headed out there tomorrow for a visit to the Buffs. Check them out for their spring game. Hopefully he has
Wayne out there, man.
Experience,
got
man.
little Wayne out there, booby.
Yeah, man. My little dog, he said he ready to go out there, man. So
man, they got Wayne out there, man. What's going on, man?
Yeah, man. So look, we will be going live tomorrow for the draft, man. So right now we want to go ahead and get any closing remarks out regarding the draft or anything before, any bold predictions, anything you want to lay on wax that may or may not happen tomorrow for the final draft.
Hey, Tampa Bay, let's get better, man. Let's go. Let's work magic, baby.
I hear you.
Texans going to continue our dominance this offseason with a great draft. I'm looking forward to having a good laugh at whoever drafts JJ McCarthy. And I think there's going to be some moving and shaking, some guys that jump up to take some of these receivers. So, because I think there's a good 4 or 5 that people really covet that they think can be great pros, and I think some people are going to move around to jump up and get them. Interested to see what the Broncos do with their 12th pick, if they're really just so hungry for a quarterback, or they fulfill some of the other needs. But I think it's going to be an interesting draft, very interesting draft, man.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm a little on the fence. You know what I mean? Y'all probably know why I'm worried, man. Hey, these receivers getting big time deals. Amon-Ra St. Brown just signed a $125 million deal. 77 million.
They need to go ahead and trade him for the. They need to go ahead and give up that number 2 and let that guy go, man.
Number 1 picks only, dog. Number 1. No, we got a first round only for that kid. Because he's under contract. You got to play next year regardless.
First rounder.
You want a first round.
Man, you out of your mind first. Out of your mind first rounder.
He'll be a Niner next year then. That's the deal. That's just how it's going to work. It's first round, he'll be a Niner next year. But
y'all gonna tag him?
Yeah, we'll tag him. Here's what it is. He's under that 5th year. We already picked up his 5th year option, so regardless of the fact, he's under a contract next year. But
oh wow,
yeah. So that's the deal. Yeah, he's good, man.
So you say the hell with it. Let him play mad.
Hey, we did it in Debo. Like, hey, man, like you're here
Booby.
Regardless.
See how they do their guys, Booby? See how they do their guys?
Hey, dog. Yeah, we can't pay everybody, man. That's the thing about it, man. Everybody can't get paid. He'll get $15 million next year, though, guaranteed. So I don't know how he'll be too angry. But neither here nor there. Man, hey, let's have a good night, man. Tomorrow we loaded up for the draft. We looking forward to seeing everybody up there, man. We'll be here live on Drive for 5 via YouTube, and we'll have the live draft loaded up for guys, man. So we here, man. It's been a great show. This is Drive for 5. This is your boy, Coach Chris.
It's your boy, Coach Miles.
Big Sue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We out. Have a good night, man.